Okay,
Three,
she's
two,
3, 2, 1. Hold on 1 second. Okay.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Greg Herrman again. This is Frequently Asked Question Friday. Unfortunately, we didn't get any questions this week, so we just kind of picked out a topic, and somebody had mentioned something about tailgating and drunk drivers at a football game because of the Cowboys. Go Cowboys! I don't know what happened to us in the Denver game, but we sure looked good against the Giants, didn't we? Anyway, so someone asked about being hit by a drunk driver. If you're in a tailgate in an NFL game, would the drunk driver be responsible? And the answer, of course, is yes. And can you sue the drunk driver? And the answer is yes. But the next question was, would the stadium be responsible? And, that's kind of it depends. I mean, usually the stadium would not be responsible for a thing like that. But under certain circumstances, the ballpark could be responsible. If you could show they were negligent in how they designed the parking lot, if you could show that they should have had certain signage up there directing traffic to go certain ways and to stop and to have, lanes of traffic, and if they neglected to do those types of things, then obviously a negligent design to the parking lot would be a contributing factor, and a jury then would decide, what responsibility would the drunk driver have, and what responsibility would the parking lot folks have. And keep in mind, it may be a different builder of the parking lot than who's running it or who's operating it, so you may have more than one defendant there. So they could also be responsible. And it could be you who were tailgating are responsible too. I mean, presumably if you're tailgating, you may be drinking also. But even if you're not drinking, if you're just, if you step out in the middle of a car, a lane of where cars are supposed to come by, then obviously you could be at fault. If you see them coming and don't move out of the way, or you fail to take evasive action, or do anything a reasonably prudent person would do, then obviously you would be partly responsible too. So that the jury would take into consideration everybody's conduct and assign proportionate responsibility to it. On the question of drunk driving, also got a question about, can you legally refuse to take a breathalyzer test? And let me preface this with, keep in mind, I am not a criminal lawyer or a criminal defense lawyer. But from my understanding is, yes, you can decline to take the breathalyzer test, and all the criminal defense lawyers I know say always decline, because things like cologne, things like mouthwash, lots of things sometimes can set off those breathalyzers. So most of them say, they tell their clients don't take them under any circumstances. But especially if you've had like 1 beer or 2 beers, and you combine that with mouthwash and cologne and deodorant and all the other things that can give a false positive reading, you could end up getting a positive breathalyzer test, and it's real hard to convince the jury that you weren't legally intoxicated. So general is don't take them, but the consequences are that they're going to take away your driver's license, and then you have to apply for a hardship license, and that takes 6 months, I think, to get. And so, and also keep in mind that they also have now in Texas what they call no refusal weekends. So they can actually grab you and arrest you and drag you down to a hospital and take your blood. And so whether you agree to it or not, they can make you do it. So, but anyway, that's again, keep in mind, I'm not a criminal defense lawyer. Keeping on the sports theme, one thing that came up in the news this week, I don't know if any of you guys heard about it, but Aaron Hernandez, the tight end that used to play for the Patriots, that I guess he was convicted for murder, and then while he was in his jail cell or prison cell, he supposedly committed suicide. Well, they got his, I guess they did an autopsy on him, and they found that he had CTE, which is that chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is that disease that apparently just virtually every NFL player gets from. It comes from traumatic, getting your head hit again and again and again. So lots of these NFL players, when their careers are over, they have a really horrible life because they have this CTE, and it's a very serious brain injury disease that is chronic, and there's no way of fixing it or treatment for now. So I think of the 100 players that have been autopsied so far for the NFL, every single one of them has had CTE. So that's a pretty interesting figure, and hopefully we'll be hearing more about that in the future. Anyway, that's it for this week of FAQs. Please submit your questions ahead of time for next week, and if we don't get any or the questions aren't great, we will pick up a theme and just, I guess I'll just talk about something. But we'd like to see some questions. We know there's people out there watching. If they're not watching right now, they will watch this later. So come up with some questions. That's what this is for. Shoot some questions at us.
Local news, sports, talk about anything, right?
Yeah, local news, sports. I can talk about anything, but preferably be something legal, but it doesn't have to be. So anyway, thank y'all again for tuning in, and we'll see you next Friday, same time, same channel.
Good job.
All right.
You're getting better.